I wanted to kind of create a way of easily contrasting uh, if there's self-care in a workplace or a home environment or this kind of thing. It's easier to see in the workplace, so we're going to go with that example. Um, so we often divide self-care into the three parts: mental, physical, and emotional health. And we're going to use this same kind of thinking to come up with our easy to apply version of a workplace environment. So there are certain demands that's continuously placed on the people that work in a specific environment. Let's take nursing, for example, in a hospital. So there's normally a high demand on emotional capabilities. So being able to empathize with the people that are there, going through their challenges, and seeing hard things each day. We also have a high um, motivation factor. So that's going to be mental. You have to do your shift, you have long hours, you have to keep going, you have to be on top of the ball all the time, and you're going to push yourself past your mental and emotional max in that environment to be able to kind of sustain what we think of an ideal nurse um, mentality is. Now, you've noticed that I've left out one, right? This is the physical. So this means that if those two are being overused, then the one that's being left out is going to be the physical one. Therefore, we're going to see nurses that have a hard time taking care of themselves physically, being active, being not exhausted at the end of the day. So, what kind of strategies then can we come up with to help take away such well, let's take away the burden of being in that kind of situation, especially for years. If you're going to be a nurse for more than 1 year or so, we have to find a way to properly address these challenges that are built into the job, the atmosphere of the job. Um, and that's where a self care program would come into. So we're not going to go too deep into that right now. We're going to take another example. So we're going to take an athlete, somebody who's very athletic. So we have here the high demand of performance. The body must do and keep up to the challenges that it's based on because that's how you make your money. Secondly, we have a high demand also mentally on the amount of drive and determination and dedication that's going to take for you to push your body to that max. And the mind and body must be closer together in their combined effort to be able to perform at such a high level. Now, this creates an environment highly charged for a physical atmosphere. And as you can tell, we have left out the emotional aspect of this, right? So now we have the focus on mental and physical, lack on emotional. So there are a lot of challenges in this case, in this kind of environment where we're not going to address the deeper feelings, the challenges, the stressors, the mental fatigue in the sense of not just getting over it and being stronger and just um, creating a solid front to what that is. So we can see the challenge there. Ultimately, when we lock out emotions, we also actually diminish a style of communication that the body has, and this is tuned to injury. So if I think that I'm strong, powerful, and I can do it all, the chances of me feeling an injury or thinking that I'm going to be incapable of playing the next game is going to be a lot less. My mindset is already set to being a performer, and therefore the show must go on. Uh, and we have that challenge. Let's take a different challenge and let's take a look at dancing. That's great. So, a dancing environment, generally, you're going to have creative expression. High demand on creative expression leans to having high emotional awareness and capacity, and or revolving in the more fluid recesses of our mind. So there's going to be high creativity. This is going to need emotion. We're also going to have a long and strong um, pressure on the mental aspect because you also must perform, right? You must get it done. Um, and ultimately, when we have a high emotional environment and also a strong mind behind that, we leave out the physical portion. Additionally, there's another challenge here on um, the stabilizing of the emotions, essentially, not being so drawn in each direction by the emotions. And this is where the physical connection to the body normally helps ground the individual and stops that challenge from happening there. But often in dancing with the high pressure and high creativity, we have an interesting combination of also a lack of connection to the body by the emotions taking over what should be done and what has to happen, backed by the mindset of perform at all costs. So we have a more interesting combination of all three things, but mainly if we look a little bit deeper, we'll notice that the body again is not dealt with the same compassion and caring as it should be, even though they are using their body a lot to dance because it's a very physical thing to do. Now, that is just kind of a quick idea of how this three-pronged approach, looking at the demands of an environment on those things, can help you identify in what areas do we need to add more support so that we can have a long career doing this thing, or that we can have a healthy person throughout their career of participating in these different environments. You can apply this to almost any workplace scenario, and in this way, I think it's a great tool to kind of give us an outline of what we need to be focusing on when we think about self-care and work. Hopefully that was insightful. If you have any questions and or concerns, leave comments and or send me an email at designfitness.ca. That'd be much appreciated. Thank you.